Jade Gottman's daughter. What can I say about Jade? Um, Jade is like a lot of women, I think, when they kind of hit their early 30s and they may have been in a relationship and it's, potentially that whole ideal of the perfect family hasn't kind of gone fully to plan. And you kind of have an existential crisis or an identity crisis of who are you in this world? How do you fit in? What does it mean to have a relationship? What does it look like? Like, what does your life kind of mean if you don't have certain things that fall into place at certain times? So I really resonated with a lot of those insecurities as she kind of navigates what it is to be herself, because for I think a longest period of time for me that character kind of had the sense that it was just ticking a lot of boxes and lived in this perfect world where everything was controlled and it was meticulous and nothing kind of was not planned and out of the normal. So, yeah, she was a beautiful character in that sense where I could sense a lot of that control, that harshness was really hiding a lot of insecurity and vulnerability. And then obviously as the story evolves and certain things happen, I won't spoil it, you really see a certain strength and an embrace of the chaos, and kind of at the end I feel like she finds who she is and she's made peace with it, even though it's not the way you would have thought it would have evolved to find peace. You would have thought potentially, she has the perfect family and, she goes back to a perfect life. It takes an interesting twist, but it still has that beautiful character arc where she finds, I think, her peace and her happiness in a weird way. Yes, the story of how I got this role is very left of centre. So initially I came across Andrew, there was a post for a short film and I auditioned for one role, but then auditioned for a different role, and because that particular role was already cast, which was amazing. But then at the last minute, the particular actor that was playing this other character kind of fell through. And so Andrew came to me and was like, would you mind playing two characters? That means a lot of work for you because obviously you need to make them drastically different because they'll be twins, but they still need to be not like comedically, ridiculously different. They still kind of have to feel genuine, but give that clear message that they are two people. So I was like, okay, interesting, love a good challenge. So obviously I went one that was very a bit more vulnerable and a little bit more calm to one that's very assertive, who's very a tick boxer and knows what she's doing, is a bit more rough. At the end of it, I think Andrew was more blown away by the character I wasn't meant to play, because I think subconsciously because I was so stressed, I probably put a bit more effort into that, thinking that, I wasn't originally playing this and now I need to really figure out how to do this. To the point that when the script for Blur was coming together and they needed a vulnerable character, I got a phone call from Andrew going, so, that character you played on Limousine, that was really nice and vulnerable? Well, I have this lead role. Would you mind coming and doing that? And I was like, are you serious? You wanted me to carry an entire film based on just seeing that small snippet? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? If you believe in me, I believe in you. Let's do this. Let's shoot on weekends. No matter what happens, let's make this happen. And that's kind of how I got the role to play Jade, as funny and random as it is. But I'm so grateful. Shooting most weekends of the year, it was pretty demanding, I'm not going to lie. I have... or used to have, I'm fun employed now, as I tell myself. I used to have a corporate job, which was quite demanding. I was in estate sales for a particular business. So as you can imagine, multiple phone calls, lots of stakeholders, lots of meetings. So it's high adrenaline, really draining. And then you go on a weekend and you have to don a completely new persona and have to stay in character, and you still have to squeeze in all your life stuff. And I'm a female, there's a lot of life stuff that, admin that I have to do, and figure out taxation and, I don't know, go to those medical appointments and have a partner at that point and try and navigate that. And then unfortunately my mum has terminal brain cancer, so throw that in some things. But oddly enough, it was one of the things that I look forward to the most, was going on the weekend. We had this thing, we had a family dinner, and between everyone on set, there was such a wealth of experience and knowledge from other film sets, and I used to just eat and just listen. I'm like, oh my God, that's what happened on that film set, and that's what it was like shooting back in those days, and and you've met this person. And so that experience was something that I really looked forward to. And even on the weekends, for me in particular, acting in film is probably not for the notoriety for me. It's actually cathartic, because I can't escape the stuff that my mum goes through, it's really soothing to be able to pretend to be someone that doesn't have to go through all the things, hold on, I'm going to tear up, that I have to go through. So having to go like on those weekends and see everyone was like amazing. Oh, now you're going to make me cry. But yeah, I really loved it. It was one of the most beautiful memories for me. Favorite costume that I had for Blur? Ooh, that is a good one. Well, not the heels because they were killer, not gonna lie. I'm already, for anyone that's watching at home, I am probably 5'11", if not taller. So adding heels to me makes me a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex with little bitty arms. So not a fan of that. But I did like the matching kind of Chanel style, like suit, like skirt and jacket. I don't know what the technical term for that is. But they were pretty like on point for, I think, Jade's character. And yeah, and it was fun going shopping because like when we were going to find the looks, you know, you try and be resourceful and, you know, be a circular economy and go to op shops and try and marry those pieces. And it was nice to be part of that journey as well and go to the shops and like, okay, what would Jade wear? When we're not filming, how did I cope when the extended period between filming? Look, I missed it, not gonna lie. But on the flip side, I did like having those days to get my life admin sorted because it did back up a bit. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it is difficult to then fall back into character for consistency's sake and, you know, make sure that you have the right level of fix. Obviously, it's not everything's shot in chronology, so in chronological order for anyone that's not familiar with film. So you kind of have to jump in time and you need to remember whether in that particular scene you were crying or you were super vulnerable, or in this scene, if it's jumping, you know, maybe 30 minutes in, at what point in the character arc are you? Are you now more dominant, more assertive? And so that was a little bit hard to navigate on those days to figure out where my character's mental state is in time based on what we're shooting. And then we've also had a break in between. So hopefully I did a good enough job. It was a massive learning experience, but yeah, I survived. Yeah, so I have been on a lot of big blockbuster productions and then obviously coming onto the indie side. I think both worlds teach you very different things. One thing I think being in an indie and being the lead has taught me is like the longevity, the stamina and the consistency and rocking up day in, day out and making sure that you have a bit more ownership over the character. I think because my experience on the blockbusters is still, you know, little cameo pieces. You then appreciate the dance, especially for crew. Like I think blockbusters taught me a hell of a lot to appreciate the hard work crew go in. They're the first people to get there on set and the last people to leave. And essentially they're all there to make you look good. Like I don't know any industry where you have that many people backing you and how hard they work. Like they're on scaffolds, some people are flown, you know, building these massive contraptions and they're pulling some ridiculous hours and they're the nicest people and essentially they're all there for you. So you learn a lot of respect and appreciation. And also then from the indie side, understanding the finance of how this all works, you know, the distribution side, all of the business elements that go into making a film that I think sometimes when you're only exposed to the blockbusters as an actor, you're oblivious to the layers that go into and just the magnitude of work that needs to go to finish this product off so that everyone can enjoy it. So both worlds have taught me so much and it's a lot bigger than I think audiences at home really tend to realise. So the process. So I like to do a lot of the why asking, like why is she here? And then keep going asking why until I can't give myself an answer. I like to think that she's like a painting and colour in, you know, the outfits, the music, and try and find similar people that I've been exposed to in my life that I feel potentially emulate particular characteristics of Jade. And to be honest, my favourite process is just grabbing a coffee and sitting in a cafe and watching actual people and seeing in that crowd of people someone that for me fits that bill and seeing and observing them in just a simple scenario, how they move, how they pick things up, how they're interacting with people. Are they really stern and cold? And then you see them turn away and they're grabbing their book and you see them relax their body and it's like all of a pretense. So there's a lot of that goes into a lot of watching films, a lot of listening to music. And then a lot of just living my own life and seeing some of the things I've experienced that I can see would be similar to this character, and then how can I make that bigger? Because obviously I feel like for an actor it is acting truthfully in a make-believe world, but sometimes you may not live this experience, but you've lived an experience that's similar that can give you into an insight into what that world could look like. And so again, reassessing all the things I've experienced and going, okay, this is like a small grain of sand compared to what this person is. But if I build on that, then there's that truth, that's that one grain of truth that then builds this illusion, which is Jade's character.